Hi, everyone. Happy Thursday. What an awesome event. Steve, that was awesome. Mark, you did amazing. I'm going to try to follow up and get somewhere near as good. But I'm super excited to chat with you guys today. As they talked about, we're going to talk about repeatable customer expansion motions, which is super fun. I like to see the entire life cycle of a customer. It's kind of like my bread and butter of like, where did they come from? How did they become a customer? What was that process with? So we talked a lot about that so far today. But I want to dive into, okay, cool, you got a customer. How else are you getting more pipeline? How else are you building more upon that? How else are you building that relationship, reducing churn, mitigating those types of motions, and making them super, super successful? So we're going to talk about using UserGems and AI motions to drive repeatable customer expansion, which I believe is one of the most untapped areas when it comes to pipeline, when it comes to revenue sources. We all have a ton of customers, which is awesome and amazing, but you probably don't have all the business that you probably could get from that customer. And you're not probably delivering 100% of your value across the entire account. So how can we think about breaking into that rest of the account, working with other business units, other segments, you making sure that the utilization is high, making sure that they're getting the value out of your platform. So that's what we're going to dive in today. As we start about that, we're going to talk about how we think about our GTM playbook here at Sendoso. So at Sendoso, we kind of think of it in three kind of motions. We walked through a lot of these different motions already today, but one is capturing your signals. So we've talked a lot about signals. We'll talk a little bit about it in a little bit. And then timing your play. How do you time it with prioritization? And as we talk about customers, we'll bring it up a couple times, but there's a lot of interesting things when it comes to customers. There's expansion, there's renewals, there's mid reviews, there's, maybe challenges with your product. There's maybe help ticket articles that they're talking, or help ticket tasks that they have, or some issue. So there's a lot of things that come into play when it comes to timing your play. Everything doesn't need to be perfect, but you can definitely use a lot of information to get your timing correct. And then obviously humanization and humanizing with gifting and touching and all the different humanized touches that we can talk about. And so those are the things that we think about when we talk about our human first GTM playbook at Sendoso. So as we've kind of talked a little bit about this command center and our kind of motion and where it sits. So this is kind of how our command center looks. So there's the system of records, which is our CRM. So Salesforce, and our map, which is Marketo. We'll walk through my whole tech stack in a little bit, but and then we have our command center, which is a UserGem. So it's helping us understand, intelligize, orchestrate our signals. We'll talk about some of the signals that we're using, prioritizing accounts, prioritizing contacts inside of our accounts, and then activating our kind of sales, marketing, and for this example, our customer success and our account management teams, activation. And then system of action. So how do we use what we're getting out of our command center to activate? So marketing automation, dialers, gifting, ads, all of that type of fun stuff. So as we talked about, that command center, UserGems is our command center when it comes to AI and GTM. So we kind of have our ICP and persona information, our CRM and insights. So these are, opportunities, information about the opportunities, call recordings, CSM recordings, email exchanges between them and our CSM, them and our ticket, like help center ticket support team, them and our account management or sales team, and then all of our value prop and our messaging and all of the kind of motion around, it's great for, let's say we're in one department. Let's say we're in marketing. If you guys are familiar with Sendoso, you probably know some of our core ICPs. So let's say we're in marketing right now. We want to go into sales, or we want to go into CS. So there's different value props, there's different messaging, there's different value props and messaging inside of that, even inside of sales, inside of marketing, inside of CS, whether you're a CSM, you're a customer support, you're an AM, there's kind of different motions there. So making sure we have all of that kind of in our model, and then we pushing that into our AI motion with Gemmy. So talk about our signal capturing, accounting contact acquisition. That's where all of it goes and finds all the good contacts, finds all the accounts. Then, okay, we have this information. How are we scoring it? How are we not reaching out to someone that is an active user in our platform because maybe we're trying to do an upside value play and like we already know that they're an active user. We don't need to reach out to them again. Making sure that that's factored into our scoring and our automation. And then we use Gemmy to help write our AI emails and showcase, okay, John over here and Jake in your company is actually using us already. You should chat with Jake. And then making sure our CRM is very hygienic and clean, which is, I think, like a complete wish list that everybody has. But it's definitely something that we've been able to get to do and get a lot further than I've ever seen before here. And so then we push that into kind of two different motions, a co-pilot that works alongside our AMs and some of our sales team members, and then an autopilot motion, which is running all the time, nonstop. Here we go, rock and roll. So we talked a little bit about this left side. So this is the campaigns that we run for new business. So past champions, reviving closed loss, ABM, ABX, SDR and AE prospect against target accounts or against ICP accounts, and then about event outreach, webinar outreach, those types of things. Those are some of the things that we're using our Gemmy to focus on our new business. But once we got to that, we saw it was super successful. I think there's probably multiple UserGems webinars or information you can find about how that was successful for us. So cool, great. How do we use that? We walked over and was like, I want to use this on the CSM side. I want to expand our customers. I want to get more pipeline there. I want to develop more accounts there. So that is where we come into using past champions and new hires at customers, multi-threading customers, customer ABX. So using all of the things that you think about when you're using ABM for ABX on your customers. So what that means is like, I always think about this as like, you are going after ABM. Let's say you're doing amazing ABM motions for your net new motion. And it is like, we're going to go research. We're going to go get their tech stack. We're going to go find the entire buying committee. We're going to map them. We're going to know what events they go to. We're going to go to those events. We're going to have dinners at those events. We're going to do all these things. All of that is happening against an account that you only know a lot of information from the outside looking in. You can only say, yeah, no, I know that, this person is this person and they came from that place. But when you become a customer, you're having CSM conversations. You are way more knowledgeable about the overall structure of their business. What is important for them? What are their KPIs? What are their OKRs? So using all of that information from usage, adoption, health scores, AM engagements, maybe they're ignoring their AM, maybe they're ignoring their CSM, maybe they're submitting health tickets. You can understand all of that information that you don't have when you're going after net new. So you have so much more rich information to go after from a customer ABM side that this is a completely untapped area. And I like, you can probably tell that I'm super passionate about it, because why would you go up the mountain of trying to figure out all this information about a net new account when maybe you're going to get the same amount of pipeline or same amount of revenue out of a customer account that you know way more about. So I have a lot of passion about customer ABX and ABM motion because I think it's a cheat code that people are completely forgetting about. But that's kind of the stuff that we're talking about when we're talking about AI campaigns for expansion. What does the expansion play kind of look like? So we obviously have our customer accounts. We obviously have them in our Salesforce and our CRM. Then we push them into UserGems. They're always watching and always keeping an eye on them and understanding what is the past champions. Are there any new hires? Is there opportunities for multi-threading across our customers and our users where there are not active users of our product? So we have the ability to understand, are you a user? Are you a manager? Are you an admin inside of our product? All that is being fed into UserGems, so they understand, an admin or a manager, or never been logged in, never, doesn't have a license, maybe a deleted user. All of those types of informations are being fed into UserGems to capture those signals. And then we go and find additional contacts or additional acquisition of those contacts. For CX, or our CX kind of motion, it's a lot more of, okay, we have these people. Who are we missing in the buying committee on this side? How are we thinking about this? And then moving into AI emails, writing those emails. I think I have some email examples in here, but some of the examples are very similar to what we kind of have just looked at, but elements of, John, congratulations on your new role. I saw you just got promoted to director of marketing, field marketing. Do you actually know that Ryan over in sales is actually using Sendoso and you have access to Sendoso? Let's have a conversation about getting you access to Sendoso today and getting those types of emails. And, obviously we're gifting. So we have gifting plays inside of it using the Sendoso Smart Suite, which is the next element on this expansion play. And then that email gets sent out via Instantly. Instantly, Smart Lead, Gong, those are our main kind of sequencing tools that we use here at Sendoso. And then we also push into executive connections on LinkedIn. So there's motions where not every motion, but many motions have us wanting to connect a lot of our customer leaders with some of our, maybe their peer at Sendoso or in one of our other customer peers. So the ability for our execs to understand who should be connected with who, and we run those through a Slack connection. Here are some examples of some of the messaging. These are anecdotal, but I think they're super important and I think they're exciting. We have some awesome kind of emails. The responses that we get typically, just like the responses we were getting when we were doing the net new, is like, wow, you actually did a ton of research. And it's always like, yeah, Jemmy did a lot of research. I love Alex. Alex is amazing. Alex is one of our amazing SDRs here at Sendoso. She does do a ton of research, but for these emails, Jemmy did a lot of the researching and did all of that kind of motion. And so that's kind of the way that we have this. But congratulations on your new gig. We know that you used us at a prior tool, or we know that you evaluated us at a prior place, or we, maybe you didn't evaluate us, or you've never heard of us, which is kind of unlikely for some of our target ICP. Then we use the information that we know about that customer already. Like, you already have access to it. Would you like to learn more about how other sales leaders are using it, or how other field marketers are using Sendoso to, improve their booth setup and get their swag to events faster, or all of that type of stuff? All of that is kind of built into these kind of emails, which is pretty awesome. The next motion is the results. So those were anecdotes and kind of the screenshots of what you can see from some of the emails. These are some of the results from our expansion plays. We've only been running it for a little bit, which I'm super excited about, but we have in my opinion, super strong reply rate of 15 to 20% for our customers from a Jemmy expansion sequence, which is really, really strong, in my opinion, for something that is, so most of our motions are on autopilot. They're not a co-pilot motion with our AM. And so a lot of these are on autopilot. And then from an opportunities perspective, we've had 44 new expansion opportunities in the last 40 days. So we're talking almost 2 opportunities a day, which is pretty awesome in my opinion, as we think about making more information about our customer known. All these are opportunities that are going to expand into new users, new departments, new focuses, new areas, and new gifting motions for us, which is pretty freaking cool. And so that's kind of the, metrics behind this fun play, because I would say we have similar kind of motions on our net new side, but when you start to incorporate all the juicy goodness that you have when it comes to our customers, you can superpower everything. Like, you can superpower all of that type of information. And also I think, like, one of the other elements that helps a lot in this, it doesn't account to these opportunities, it accounts to another metric that they probably should have included as well. But just as it relates to churn mitigation, I would assume that if your AMs and your CSMs are like anybody is in tech today, they have large books of business that they're working, and they're trying to touch every customer as much as possible and befriend them and make everybody known about them. But unfortunately, they are humans, as I am a human as well. You only have so much time in the day, and so they can only reach out to so many people, and they can only have so many conversations and try to figure out who else they should talk to at these opportunities. So Jemmy is actually helping that. So helping build a stronger relationship, helps to reduce churn by understanding the information inside of that account and getting to know them, and booking meetings. So there's a whole nother metric that I forgot to include in here, but meetings that were booked that are not opportunities that were generated. So we obviously, some of the meetings that we have is just like, we want you to use Sendoso more. We want you to, like, get more value out of Sendoso at your company, and get you access and get you a license. Those don't count as opportunities here. Those are whole separate kind of motion. It's all about adoption. It's all about churn mitigation. It's all about relationship building. And we are literally serving up who we should be serving up, our ICPs, our core users, our core value drivers at our companies, to our AMs and our CSMs. Is like, hey, here's a meeting. Go chat with one of the awesome people at one of your customers that you want to chat with, that you probably didn't have the time to think about. So that's kind of some of the results, which I think is pretty freaking cool. As we walk through our tech stack here, I may be covering it, maybe not. I have the slide up so I can walk through it, but data and signals is CRM, is our, Salesforce. Contact acquisition, we talked about this already. We use UserGems and Clay. Happy to chat more about that as well if there's any questions. First party signals, we use Gong, as well as all of our email. Great first party signals. Third party signals is UserGems. We use Vector as well to understand our website information. Command center, UserGems for signal orchestration, account and contact scoring. UserGems for, as we go out to the outbound expansion kind of motions. UserGems is generating all those emails that we saw earlier. Outreach and Instantly are both some of our sequencers. We also use Gong. We also use Smart Lead. Really is pick your flavor. I don't think there's a massive opinion. I'm happy to chat more if you want. Our dialers, Orem, our amazing outbound team is rocking it over at Orem there. As I chatted earlier, we use alerts for Salesforce for some of our other things. Ad audiences is UserGems. And then we have gifting, obviously, with Sendoso. Ad campaigns, we typically run across Google and LinkedIn and Meta. And then for assets, we also use asset creation for some of those LinkedIn campaigns through a tool called Carrot. For copy and some copy creation, we use Claude. Website, our website is living on that beautiful web flow. And then for reporting, which is probably things I'm covering with my face, but I'm reading off another slide, you have to trust me, I guess, is Dream Data. And so that's where we kind of go for our user and kind of our reporting information. I think this is my last slide. I do see a bunch of chat and information coming up, and I can try to run over there and answer questions.